Welcome to the Occupational Safety Leadership Podcast, episode number 290 with Dr. Laura Sicola. I ran across her work about the three C's of executive talk. Let's call it talk for now because I don't know how to. I know that you have some different words, of course, but let's just call it talk for now then. And I kind of thought, gosh, if I only had this when I was 25, I think it really could have changed my life, could have changed my um, let's call it my progression upwards then, because then I would have had a better step in. And I tried all the classic stuff. I'm going to wear a better shirt and a tie. And I see that the guys have a beard, so maybe I'll grow beard too. I tried all that stuff then, and I never really got through. And in the safety field, they always want to talk to you when something bad happens, but not always when it's something good or the day-to-day stuff. So if you could go over your three C's of executive communication, that would really be great today.
Thank you, David, for the invitation to be on the show. And I'm very happy to help people in the safety, health,
Mhm,
etc. spaces
mhm,
because we want you to be safe. That's the only way that you can do what you do,
mhm,
which helps all of us on a regular basis. So again, thank
mhm,
you, everybody
mhm.
out there, for your roles in this. The What I call the three C's of vocal executive presence is what I like to call it. Uh,
Okay.
it's very much about because it's not just what you say, right? It's all about how you show up and what gets people's
Mhm,
attention and what makes you come across as a leader, as someone who is who deserves to be listened to. And now, look, we all deserve to be listened to, but how to plant that idea in somebody else's head that you in particular, they should listen to you now. So the three C's of vocal executive presence very simply are to command the room, connect with the audience, and close the deal. And in brief, what that means is number one, command the room. When you show up, from the minute before you even start talking, the minute you click join meeting, if it's virtual, is there something in your presence that compels people to pay attention? How do you
mhm,
seem like you feel confident about yourself? Number two is to connect with the audience, meaning no matter what your role is, what their role is, where you are on the org chart or anywhere else, on some level, you understand me and I understand you. And that is the connection that we're going to ride for this conversation. And number three is close the deal. Closing the deal is not a sales term. I mean, it could be if you're in sales, but ultimately it means getting to yes, coming to a mutual understanding, moving the needle forward. So you've got that progress and that agreement together. That's really the key. So how you show up, how you connect, and how you come to agreement. That's the three C's.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I really like that first C about commanding the room. So it took me a while to get this down, and I'm still not 100% sure I really have this down. But I know that some people have a hard time with confidence,
Yep.
and they really struggle with that. And a lot of times you can really tell that a person is struggling with that. They
Mm-hmm.
kind of have their head down. They may
Mm-hmm.
be looking at the ground. They may have a very low voice. So just
Sure.
just those little things that you could say, like, that person could be brilliant and everything they're saying is awesome, but I'm just not feeling that they feel as convicted
Mm-hmm.
also then too. Um,
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is a combination of what you say and how you say it. So, yes,
mhm,
your words matter, but also your voice and your body language, your facial expressions, your posture, and to your point, the way that you show up as far as how you're groomed or dressed. Yes, wear the nicer shirt instead of the one that looks like you've slept in it for the last 3 days. Yes, if you do have facial hair, it should be groomed and or again, who's your audience? Actually, this is more important because if they're all
mhm,
showing up looking like ZZ Top out of the 80s with the scraggly beards all over the place, okay, then you know what? That's going to connect better with them. Don't Not that you should try to look like them in a monkey see monkey do way, but if you're comfortable with
mhm.
that, sure. But that alone isn't going. That's wrapping paper, and
Yes,
we want to wrap
yes.
a package nicely, but ultimately, it's what's in the package that matters.
Yeah, yeah. I tried all those things and I realized that what I got to do is just be me. So I went through the whole shirt, tie. I even did a beard for just a few days, because it's hard in the safety field because sometimes you have to wear a respirator, so you have to time it just right.
Right.
Can't shave for 2 or 3 days, but I got to time it right for the meeting, and all that, just little
Sure.
things like that. And then I realized that I just need to be me. If I'm going to get up there and I'm going to have some I won't know the answer. I just need to say, I don't know the answer. I'll get it. I'll figure it out. I'll get it back to you, all that stuff. So,
Yes.
so I think I had to fail a number of times to then say, well, everything I'm doing is not working. I should just be myself. And then if I fail at being myself, I now have a baseline, of course, at least, to
Yeah.
go back and alter.
You know what, David? Can I
Mhm.
piggyback on something that you just
Oh,
said?
yes, of course.
The the point about, well, I tried doing that, now I have to be me. So the concept of authenticity, right? The idea of wanting to be yourself is both mission critical and really misunderstood. And I think where we
Hmm.
get ourselves in trouble is the idea that authenticity is black and white, like it's a light switch. This is me, that's not me. It's on, it's off. But I bet that you have friends or family members that you'll talk to, you'll watch a football game together, you'll go out and hang out for dinner, and you probably talk to them and dress differently there than you talk and show up on this podcast. Is that fair?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
So clearly, is one of those the real you and one of those fake? Or are they both real?
That's a great point. I had never thought of it from that angle. So I guess they're both real, but it depended on what my audience was. But I'm
Yes.
still but I'm still me, of course. I just have
Yes.
a different audience.
Exactly. And that's
Ah.
what I like to call your prismatic voice. When people
Hmm.
can master their prismatic voice, this is the root of power. Because you ever see one of those little sun catcher crystally things that people hang from their kitchen
Oh, yeah,
window or
yeah, yeah.
rear view
Uh-huh.
mirror, right? And the little
Yeah,
rainbow comes out the other side. Well,
yeah.
in that same way, it's like you are that sunshine, and in that white light are all those colors. So when you go through the prism of the meeting, the Zoom, whoever the audience is that you're talking to, you have to take stock of all those colors that are naturally in your spectrum and
Mhm.
see, okay, which one of those needs to shine brightest to be able to have that second C connecting with the audience
Mhm.
here. So I bet you don't wear a white collared shirt every day of your life. Or
No,
maybe
not too often.
not too often. Okay, but you look great in it here, and it's a great side of you. It's a great color for you if in your spectrum to show up for this role as authoritative podcast host, etc. But you're hanging out on a Saturday with your friends or with your family, t-shirt, sweats, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
And so that's the appropriate way to show up there. So
Mhm.
you just have to pick the color that's right. The beard wasn't working for you at that point. Okay, whatever other blue tie, you tried it.
Mhm.
It wasn't, but it wasn't that it wasn't you. It's just that it wasn't the right. Because I bet you still own a blue tie, don't you?
Yep. Oh, yeah. I
You
still
dust it
I
off
still
every
got
now
to
and
wear
then.
it. Yeah, that's right.
Every blue moon, it comes out for something or other. So it's not that the blue tie's not you. It's that the blue tie specifically wasn't right for you then and there.
Yes, 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 exactly.
So when people can recognize and start to see, gee, how do I frequently vary my communication style based on who I'm talking to? And gee, let me look at this audience. I'm looking to talk to a bunch of leaders, a bunch of decision makers, a bunch of policymakers in the organization. How do they think? How do they show up? Are they a little more formal? Are they a little more structured? Do they say more ums or fewer ums? Do they swear or not swear? What kind of jargon they use, et cetera? If you can adjust, not imitate, but
Right,
adjust, right? To turn your color dial more, let's call that more of a green. Okay, where's your green? You got to show up a little bit more green for them than the way that you'd show up to go watch a football game with some buddies on a Sunday afternoon. Right.
right,
So,
right,
but it's
right,
still all you. Find the blue version of you, find the green version of you to connect with that audience. When you realize you've got all those colors available, that's where real power lies.
right, 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 right. So I did find it easier to connect when I kind of knew their goals, because
Yes.
then I know what's important to them. I
Yep.
know what they're being I hate to call it judged, but performance reviews and all that kind of stuff then. So you kind of have a better feel for, okay, so this is what's important for them right now, because you can't cover everything. So at some point you have to say, hey, I'm only going to cover these 4 or 5 topics, whatever the topic is, of course.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
And that's another exceptionally important point is who's your audience? Know your audience and what are
mhm,
their goals? What are their objectives? They do not need to know every detail of your life, of your experience, of your perception. What they
mhm.
do need to know is whatever that missing puzzle piece is that you have that they don't, that's going to allow them to do their job better, to
Right,
make
right.
better decisions faster. So you have to be strategic
Mhm.
in what you share, not fire hose, right? We don't want to open mouth, turn on fire hose, drown
I've
the
done that
audience.
before. Yes.
We all
Yes,
have.
yes, yes,
But when we want
yes.
to get their attention, to be strategic and say, okay, absolutely, if they don't remember anything else, what do they need to understand
Hmm.
from this conversation? Put that on a bumper sticker and put it right up front. Something like, I have an idea for how we can reduce um, falls by at least 20% next quarter.
Hmm.
You want to bet they're going to pay attention?
Oh, yes, yes, yes,
Right.
yes.
So
Because
put the
now that's
why
money.
right up front. Yes.
Hmm.
So put the so what up front. The what, if they're a bunch of execs sitting there thinking to themselves, okay, why should we care? We've got a billion things to do. Why should we give you time right now? You're going to go, here's why, because this is going to save this or prevent that.
Hmm.
Okay, now you got my attention. You got 2 more minutes. Prove to me that I should give you three more.
I really like that strategy. So then you would just, would you almost say, I'm trying to come up with some good phrasing here. Like,
Sure.
I want people to take away the following from this meeting.
Yes.
Okay, okay,
Yeah. You
okay.
know what? If
I like that
nothing
because
else,
it's very clear, it's very direct, this is why that I'm here. And we'll talk about this one thing. Now,
mhm.
maybe I would say a couple things, of course, but I want to talk about this one thing, and then I want you to take away the following from this.
So let's do a
Mhm.
little bit of a rotation on that.
Mhm.
So let's same short, pointy, pithy point, I should
Mhm.
say, but instead of I want, and
Ah,
it's here's what's most important for you. If you don't remember anything else, you need to know this because this can save you this much money, time, talk to the investors, whatever their issue happens to be. Right? It's less about what I want and what me giving you what you want and or what you need.
right, right, right. I
That's
bet
the
you
key.
that I bet you that I've made that mistake before. I'm sure that I said I want, and then it was followed by dollar signs, to fix the following. I probably should have phrased it as in this is what's best for the company,
Yeah.
but I probably used the words I want, in there. And that was probably a pretty big turnoff.
It definitely
Oh.
redirects because think about it when your teenagers say, "Hey, Dad, I want $200." You go, "Well, I that's lovely, but you want, why should I care?"
Right, 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 right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, exactly.
That's the
Oh yeah,
key. That
exactly.
everybody's tuned into the same radio station, WIFM. What's in it for me?
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, that's true. That's true. So let's talk about when I was a young bald-faced man trying to figure this stuff out then. How would you say somebody could say, how do I get my foot in the door to even command the room? You know? How do I really do that?
Commanding the room is about, it starts with exuding confidence. You're there for a reason. If you believe in your reason and you believe that it is something that will add value to them, then that's what has to be your driving force. Your thoughts, your mindset. It's this is an important contribution. They need to know this because this I want to give them this value.
Hmm. Hmm.
Not I want to tell them X. It's that I want to give them a value. And if you show up fully congruent, fully projecting that um, generosity
Hmm.
and that sincerity of intention, that this really matters, that compels people to pay attention. And that people don't tend to go in thinking about that. They're either thinking things like you go into the death spiral of what ifs. Like, what if they don't like it? What if they ask a question I can't answer? What if I forget what I want to say?
I've
What if
done
I,
that a bunch. Yeah.
right?
Oh,
That's the
yeah.
death spiral
Uh,
of what if questions. So, but people aren't, here's the four-word secret to confident public speaking.
mhm.
It's not about you.
Right, right.
It's about
Yes.
them. They are not sitting there hoping you screw up. They're not sitting there like a bunch of junior high school bullies going, hee hee hee, oh, let me get this guy. Let me see if I can shoot holes in his argument. Oh, let me see if I can, get the newbie and really just squish him. No, they
Yeah.
don't want you to waste their time. They want to have a great experience. So they're hoping you're going to give them something awesome.
Hmm, hmm.
So they're rooting you on. Think of that. The people you're talking to are rooting you on to give them value. So give it to them and be
Right,
confident that that's your intention.
right, 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 right. Very good. Very good. Let's talk about let's switch gears a little bit. So we talked about command in the room. We've connected. The one thing that helps me is and I actually learned this from somebody else, is that before so this person said if you go to their office, you're gonna see what they're into. So if they have like pictures of their kids, if there's a sports team up, you're gonna kind of, at least you can connect about that. So sometimes people don't always agree on work, but they're always going to agree on this is what's best for my family, my sports team, whatever the kind of thing out there then. So, um, any other strategies that you can think that you'd like to share when it comes to connecting with people?
Connecting is about listening.
Hmm.
So when you can reflect something that you've heard them say back to them, if they, yes, there's always the simple things like, oh, is that a picture of your kid, or I notice you're a soccer fan, or something along those lines.
Right.
Um, those are those are easy ways to have a nice little bit of small talk to build some rapport. We have
Mhm.
to, so it breaks the ice. It's not enough to lead the meeting forward when we're
Oh,
talking about
right,
budgets and
right,
those kinds
right,
of things, right? So
right.
we need to go a little step deeper than that, but those are certainly things that help. Um, so here's a little linguistic piece. If you notice that, so people tend to be either visually, auditorily, or kinesthetically oriented. So they talk in terms of what things look like, what things sound like, or what things feel like. So if you
Hmm.
hear someone say something like, well, we're going to have to take a look and see how this looks for us. Okay, they're visually oriented. So you don't want to answer them with something like, well, that sounds good. Okay, let's try that. They're not, sounds good is auditory.
Right, right,
So
right.
it's like, great, let's go take a look. You want reflecting back those kinds of things. Or, well, if they say, well, how does that feel to you? You don't want to answer. Well, let me rephrase that. If they say things like, I got to see how it feels, you're not going to say to them, well, okay, so how does it sound? Because those
Right,
are,
right, right.
and of course
Right,
that
right.
wouldn't be the immediate exchange, but later on, if hear that they're saying like, oh, let that make sense. Okay, that's a connection. That's a physical kind of piece. That's not an auditory. So you want to try to stick with words that are in their space, and it just sounds more natural in a
Mhm.
way of connecting with them. This is part of something that's referred to as neurolinguistic programming and matching and mirroring on modalities. So if you can click those modalities into place, people don't know why, but it feels easier to talk to you.
Wow, I have never picked up on that. Could you give the audience just a brief overview of the modalities?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Auditory is
Mhm.
listening,
Okay.
visual is seeing,
Mhm.
kinesthetic is feeling,
Okay.
sensory, touch of source. So
Okay.
think about
Okay.
the difference. There's the difference between saying, how does that look to you? How does that sound to you? How does that feel to you? They all mean more or less the same thing. Like, does that seem good? Right? Good to you? But somebody who's more visually oriented, and you can hear if they use words like, well, that looks interesting, or well, I see what you mean,
Mhm.
or that's crystal clear.
Ah,
It's a
visual. Right, right,
visual,
right.
right?
Okay.
As
Hmm.
opposed to, well, does that ring a bell? That strikes a chord with me. That resonates well. That sounds good.
Hmm.
All of those are auditory. kinds of
Mhm.
phrases. Similarly, how does that sound to you? Does that strike a chord,
Mhm.
etc. Versus the kinesthetic, which is the tactical. Kines it could be things like, how does that feel? Does that sit well with you? Or yeah, that
Mm.
that sits well, or that's let me wrap my head around that.
Mhm.
Let me get my hands around it.
I have
I can't put my
heard
finger on it.
I've heard all those, I think, at different times from different people. I'm
Mhm,
going to see if I can really go back and use that. I had heard about using that mirror technique, but
mhm.
I did not pick up on that part of it then.
It
Very
is,
good.
and we all use
Mhm.
all of those kinds of phrases at some point or other, but most people tend to gravitate more heavily toward one.
Right, right,
And so if
right,
you hear those kinds of phrases coming from somebody, you're better off using similar modalities in your language back to them.
right. I think I'm more of a audio person then. So I like to say, I think that sounds good, and those kinds of things. So I'm probably more of that kind of person then.
Well, we'll have to go back to some of your podcasts and analyze your transcripts and see what your patterns are.
Right. So let's talk about closing the deal.
Mhm.
Because when I think about closing the deal, I'm selling something to somebody.
We
And
are not
many
selling.
times when we go in, we're not selling, we're convincing somebody.
Mhm,
We're presenting a plan. We're
mhm,
presenting a path forward, we can
mhm.
call it.
Yes, the goal is to
Hmm.
get buy-in.
Hmm.
And the buy-in that you get, the closing the deal, so to speak, is remember moving the needle forward. So perhaps you're trying to convince people to sign off on a new initiative, but that might take more than one conversation.
Hmm.
Then they have to bring it to the
Ah,
committee, and then the committee's going to have to do this, and then they're going to have to be reviews. And there's, I mean, for me, even in selling, in with prospecting with new potential clients, I know there's going to be, especially if I'm talking with a big corporation, it could be 6 months worth of discussions.
oh,
Is,
yes. Hmm.
and so each conversation is the end of that conversation is typically agreeing to meet with the next person on up the chart.
Hmm.
So, okay. Or let me answer your questions. Did you get this part answered? What else do you need to know? What objections do you think you're going to hear from your boss when you bring this to their attention to try to get the next meeting? All right, let's talk through what objections you're likely to hear from them, and I'll help you prep to have answers to those questions. So I can either feed you information or help you frame something. Let's What will it take to get to the next step? It's just
Right.
agreement formation.
So in a way of putting it that helps me to understand, you're basically you're solving a problem for them.
Yes,
Okay,
yes. Or
gotcha.
and maybe they're solving a problem for you because it could be a matter of you need an answer. You're talking to your boss about new helmets or new safety something or other, and you've
Mhm.
been arguing and arguing about not arguing, maybe, but you've
Right.
been
Sometimes, yes.
addressing this, you've been bringing this up a number of times. So the closing the deal could finally be getting the yes that you
Ah,
want. Or frankly, it could be getting a no. For me, sometimes a clear no is as useful, if not as ideal, as a clear yes. But at least it's not just, well, I don't know, come back in another couple of weeks and we'll see. Don't drag it out.
right,
Sometimes you
right,
just want
right,
the answer.
right,
Sometimes you just
right.
want to understand something, or you need a number. You need to know what to expect. Okay, have we moved the needle? Have we
Hmm.
made progress?
Yep. Sometimes a no is I can't call it good, but at least a no means that okay, we are not going to pursue this. You put your time and energy at other pursuits then too.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. I'd rather a yes than a no all the time in those kinds of spaces, but I would rather a clear no than having you just drag it out because you don't like saying no. And so you're going to keep stringing me along for 6 months
Oh,
or,
I've seen that a lot. Yes.
sure, nobody wants that. Don't waste my time, please. Yep.
Right. So this ha has been a fantastic episode. I want to thank you for joining me. Could you take a couple seconds, let folks know where they can find you and connect? I have a lot more things to talk about, but we're just we're just out of time.
Of course, of course. Well, thank you again so much, David, for the opportunity to speak with you today. I would invite everybody to come to my website, which is simply laurasicola.com. Check it out there. You can find my book there. You can find my podcast and other informations there as well. And I will also, David, if you in the link, excuse me, in the show notes, perhaps if you
Mhm.
can add one more link, I will offer the first two chapters of my book, Speaking to Influence, for free to anybody who would like to download
Oh,
it.
awesome. Awesome. Great, 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 great. Thank you so much. So this has really been good. I really wish I would have heard this speech when I was 25 and just I think it really could have helped me out a awful lot. So um, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Dr. David Ayers. Thank you and have a safe day.